Praise the Lord. I'm very happy to see all of you this morning and to worship together with you. My name is Canon Peter Karanja, and I love Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I want to take this early opportunity to congratulate you on this beautiful and wonderful sanctuary that has now been opened. I missed the opening ceremony because when it moved to a new date, it fell in a date when I was preaching in another church, running a series for a month, so I couldn't interrupt, and I'm back. My wife sends you greetings. Today is one of those days we could have come together with her, but recently we were blessed with another grandson, and she chose to worship me at home, so that after the service she can go back and look after our daughter and let the helper who normally would take care take a break. We shall come when the baby is a little bigger. It's always a joy to worship here. I speak a lot in many churches. Some of them quite elite, others very village-like, and you are a very unique church, which has a character which if you maintain and nurture will cause you, even though there are very many churches, to always have something about St. Paul's that inspires people and encourages them to come. In the recent past, I've been asked to speak a lot about family. And it is interesting that this is your family service. It seems to be emerging that churches are realizing that the impact of their ministry is likely to be more sustained if they invest a lot more in ministering to the family and what happens there. You know, the family is a very unique institution. You don't choose your family. You're just born there, and you grow up there. Even the many men and women who choose spouses to raise families with, after they have chosen and they are married, they are not always as sure in marriage as they were when they were courting and saying sweet nothings, that really they made the best of choices. And quite many men and women, given another choice, might choose someone else for a husband or a wife. And so we have all those relationships, fathers and mothers, children and parents, brothers and sisters, grandparents and grandchildren, relationships that you don't choose, that you find yourself in, and you can hold the opinions you like about them. But slowly, you get to where you begin now to be the one creating and nurturing the relationships. And some of you already are parents, some of you already are grandparents, some of you are advancing in years, and some of the complaints you used to have about family, now they are being made about you, not about the people that you complain about. Sababu wewe sasa ndio uko kwa jukwaa. In one of those sessions when I was teaching about family, and we were in a session with my wife, and it was time to be asked questions and to answer. And sometimes, you know, the misfortune about this pulpit ministry in the Anglican Church, you can't ask a question even when you disagree with the preacher, or when you prefer that they add something that you think they are omitting. So this time, we had said, honor your parents. The Bible demands it. Be kind to them. It will bring you a blessing. And someone said, you said we honor our parents. What do you do if your parents are bad? If they are rough and they don't treat you well? If they are selfish including borrowing money in institutions and asking the children to pay the money, mishandling and mistreating. Do you know how bad some parents are? How do you honor such parents? Now, how do you respond to such a question? And I was led by the Spirit to say, the Bible says you honor your parents, so you honor them. It doesn't give a qualification for parents to be honored. They're just honored because they are parents. And if you live long, you are likely to also become a parent to be honored. Sasa nikawauliza, kama walishinda wazazi wao wakiwalea, wakiwafanya watu wazuri, na miaka hiyo yote wameshinda Mungu ambaye pia anajaribu kuwatengeneza na kuwaunda, how are you going to be able to tengeneza them when you are their child? They were too difficult for their parents. They have defied God all these years. They are likely to defy you. Just love them and honor them as they are. Then after the service, someone came to me and said, I didn't hear what you said. I wasn't moved by a lot of the things that were said, but I was touched by what you said about honoring parents the way they are, because God says it doesn't matter. So he says he went out, he called the shop attendant in his village and told him, pack for me X, Y, Z. He listed the things he wanted packed. And he said, give me the bill for those things and the rider's costs, and get a rider to deliver them to my mother at home, because he hadn't liked his mother a lot. And she was a bad woman as far as he was concerned. And when he told me the things she does, I also believed with him that that woman could have been better. But she's a mother. And he says, I will continue to be kind to her now because the word of God has spoken to me. I noticed because it's a little wet and we're getting to the end of the year, a number of you are a bit late coming to church. Not late enough to miss the sermon, but late enough to miss quite a few things. And it's always nice to make an effort to be in church in time. I have found that sometimes what helps me is to plan to attend a service a little earlier. This service begins at 10. Just assume the service is beginning at 9:30. And try to make for the 9:30, you will not be late for the 10 o'clock. And so because you missed the epistle reading, which is what I will build on in my reflections and meditations, allow me to read it again. Colossians chapter 3, verses 9 to 14. Some of you are familiar with this passage. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Here there is no Greek, no Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian or Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all that is in all. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. In choosing this passage, I was informed by your theme that you desire, as you reflect on family at this service, to think a little more deeply about unity in the family and oneness. And I can do an exposition on unity and oneness, but over the years I have come to think that some of these things we like are not an end in themselves, but outcomes of conditions and things and activities that are not them which produce them. And in this passage that we have read, Paul tries to outline key things that will work for every Christian, but which I think are very fundamental in holding the family together in unity. And so he says in verse 9, do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Why do people lie? Generally. And why do they lie in the family? Andu mahena na gianeke generally mutolera ile na mahena na gianeke meshine kwao. Number one, mahena na gia negetha maita maingi mahothererie maundu maria mekite matagireire nigetha meherie consequences cia maundu macio. They lie in order to play down wrongs they have done and, if possible, avoid the consequences for the things that they do. All of you remember the experience of small children when cups break. They just fly from the table and break. Mamela ine kereogika keagwa na geakua mam nego gothie gikope keoire geakua. And mother is wondering, is it normal for a cup just to fly from the shelf and fall and break? But the child is wondering, if I tell mommy that I'm the one who mishandled it and it broke, isn't she likely to spank me? Now, to spare myself the consequences, let me say I do not know. Sometimes people lie because they are hiding the intentions they have of choices they have made that they think are not wholesome and acceptable to members of their family, because they don't desire to live within the straight and narrow. Now, this is a country that is very oriented towards lies. The other day we were surprised when one of the leading advisors of government in a forum was asked, what about all the promises that you made? The UDA promises, how it will take us to Canaan, and we don't find any Mamba that are associated with Raila on the way. And this consultant asked, when you believed us? And you believed us. And the things we told you, you believed. And he's getting surprised that actually someone who wants to become president and his whole battalion can go around the country on choppers and buses and four wheels and limos and tell people things which they believe. And then they are surprised. Yeah, you people, what kind of people? Yeah, we tell you things and you believed. And so, you expect to be lied to almost everywhere you go. When you shop, you expect that the shopkeeper is trying to get away with as minimal value for money as possible. At work, a lot of the excuses that are given for people missing work are not actually true. Many workers have a way of coining a lie, sometimes very convincing, to be the reason why they will not go for work that particular day. Now, the reduction of the punch and pain from lies all over is because the people who you lie to or who lie to you in the normal course of life, away from home, you don't see them again for a long time, and you can choose not to go to them again because they have lied to you once bitten, twice shy. And even though you may lose money and value from being lied to, it is not so devastating for most people that it will take away your life. But at home, when you lie, what are you trying to achieve? I met a woman the other day who told me she's married 17 years and very unhappy because it didn't take long to confirm that the things the man who married her promised her, he was lying and he did not keep mean to honor. And so she bears with it. It causes her pain, but she asks herself, which man out there doesn't lie about their intentions when they marry? Because she has also seen a few women who walked away because they were very dissatisfied and remarried, and they were walking away again because these men seem to be harvested from the same rock and they seem to behave generally the same way. So you'd better stick with the one you have and make do with him, because the next one is likely to be just like him. But at home, lies don't work very much. When you open your mouth to lie, even though members of family listen to you very keenly to hear what you're going to say, sometimes it doesn't take long before they know you're going to lie. You have a track record over the years. They have seen the things you have said and the things you have gone on to do. And sometimes they tell themselves they will be surprised if this time what you say you will honor. They know your language. They know your behavior. In fact, the very disposition of your body and the way your face looks, when you open your eyes to lie, your wife or your husband is likely to look at you and know, maundu maria oigaga ni aramenya ni arahenia nikio maitho make ararora meitiriro akiaria handu ha kundora na koranga nikikirahituka na kuria nja tari we watchman no ni kumenya aramenya ati ndeto iria araria ti ciama uthio wake ni unjiraga maita maingi oyananagia mucii makamenya na magakira we nowe wehenia one mamenya no henania makoiga ni megweterera mone kana ni ugutuika Paulo utuira we Saulo toria thia Damascus gukorwo ati riu undu uria woiga umuthi ni mweru na ni mwega gukira maria uturaga umeraga no maciaro ma maheni mucii ni mariku. What are the consequences and the outcomes of lies in the home? The people you lie to in the home think that you have contempt for them, think you have no respect for them, think that you are demeaning on them, think that you love yourself very much. And when they think that you don't tell the truth, it injures your relationship with them. And there are homes where people live together under the same roof. They eat the same food that is made every day. They appear to be one, but they are just lodging together. Their hearts have moved far apart because they are unable to trust and honor and respect each other because of the shortage of truth in their communication and in their relationships. In fact, in many families, both men and women look for friends outside the home where they think they can be authentic because they have doubts that they can enjoy such intimacy in a relationship at home without being disappointed. And in fact, some people lose faith in society and in the people around them and institutions because of what they have seen at home. I've met quite a few girls who say they don't want to marry. For 25 years they saw the way daddy treated mommy. And they are saying, if that is how women are treated, I don't want to have a man around my life who exercises his right to treat me as he likes. I prefer to have my freedom. Even boys who are very hesitant to marry because they are very doubtful that the way they have seen their mothers behave at home is a way they want a woman to come and hang around them to be behaving so every day of their lives until they die. One of the major pillars of family unity and oneness is truth. In your family, you ought to tell the truth without reservation. Nunu kota kuruta nguo na wiyaure na waria uria kuri na uria kuhana na umenya na ukwendwo na ni ukirirerio na ni ukuheo mweke ungi nduguteanio ni undu wa uhuthu waku na weaknesses no ukwendwo uria uhana. Na nĩ wega andũ a Ngai ũkaragia gwaku mũciĩ ũkoiga ciugo cigũtũma andũ arĩa makwĩgiĩ magĩe na confidence around you that they are accepted to you as they are because you are committed to them for the long haul, not just for the short term. Then Paul isolates in this passage that has been read for us a few pillars that I would like us to look at quickly. Mwehubere wa ngoro uria wa kwiguanira tha. Clothe yourselves with compassion. Mwehubere wa kwiguanira tha. Guku ni kugea na ciiko cia tha kuri andu aria marathinika ni undu wa maundu matiganete. And you know, in life, the struggles we go through, the fights we face, the dangers we face, the accidents we go through, the way people rise against us at work, at business, and everywhere, the challenges that people face out there, they want to come home and feel regarded with compassion and love by their spouse and their children and their parents, regardless of the realities, because east-west, home is best. Home is made best compared with east and west, not because of direction, but because you can be yourself and loved just as you are. Your dignity is protected at home. You can be yourself. Even if the world rises against you, you know at home you are safe and you are protected. The results of the what is it called? The one that came is called what? KCPE. As you grow older, you begin to forget these things because they are happening very indirectly to you. I don't know what grades were brought home. And I don't know what you say to your children. My friend, his son at the university was told he would do another year. It's called, those of you who went to university nowadays, Xeroxing, repeating. repeating the year. And the son was devastated. My friend took him for lunch and said, it has come to my attention that the university has said you'll do another year. You repeat a year. I can see how devastating it is to you. It is not a problem to you. I love you all the same, even if you are to repeat every year. And I have good news for you. If you graduate after a little while, even though you repeat 1 year, and the Lord keeps you and you work for 20, 30 years and more, you will discover that 365 days in a year, if you subdivide them across the years that you live and work, network will not register. So do not be devastated because of something so small. I will pay school fees. I will support you in every way. I have total confidence in you. Something must have gone wrong, which is very unusual. Our family is a family of overcomers. The problems we face, we have a way of rising above them. Your mother and I have been through many challenges. You know some of them. We have overcome all of them. You will overcome this one. How do you think that son felt? Yeah? In his lowest moments, he can count on his father. But you know some. Ewe kilimo geke wathire university guthaka mbeca ciakwa no kwiya wihagia uturaga taoni ugika maundu mobuthi nikio takoragwo cukuru ndwikaga homework we watuhu ta nyukwa na cogua nganao. You know the son is already in the lowest. You're taking someone who is on ground floor and pushing them to 5th basement. How are they ever going to rise above that? Even if the world was to think that your son is silly and useless, can you think so yourself? Compassion and kindness. Kindness is that disposition of generating the habit of sacrificing yourself and giving of yourself so that you can do good to those that are around you who matter to you, even if it is not their right in any way. You know, your family knows the way you love yourself, the way you take very nice care of yourself. They know your abilities. And they know that sometimes you are punitive on them. I've seen some women who dress very well. No, perfect. But you see their babies, they have browning hair. And you can tell the money went to cook hair rather than to buy food in the salon. Men have been seen who drive reasonable cars, and their wives are making food using jiko. There is no gas. And you love yourself so much that so that you keep myas with the society and the people around you, your family can live in squalor. Families are happy when they know that you go far out of your way and make sacrifices so that their dignity, so that their needs, so that their interests are taken care of. And clothe yourself with humility when you hear. One wathekana gutia andu aria angi na kwambararia mabataro mao iguru ria mabataro maku. You know, outside as you progress and prosper, you can boast to other people, but your family knows you. They know where you came from. They know the situations you have been through. They know God has been gracious and kind to you. They would be happy to see some humility in you. Of course, you know, as I do, some men who began humbly, but they prospered along the way. And later on in life, they think that their wife is too caricature, does not deserve to have husbands like them. I've in fact met women who say, ko teonagata we wa mwanya ate nini nda kuhikirie we thimari we wari wa kirathi gia kuhikio ni mundu tani. Now, who is foolish and stupid between you? If 20 years after you married, you are discovering that your wife does not deserve to have a husband like you, why did you marry her? It just means that when you married, you are as caricature as she was. And over years, you have become less caricature. But have you become less caricature? Most likely you just wear a nice designer suit and drive cars that make people's heads turn. But inside you are still as caricature as you used to be. Don't you hear them? They try to speak English. I am very happy to be with you today. I was thinking, and then they speak broken English. You're asking, you are driving a Range Rover and speaking broken English? Did you steal the money or did you work for it? Can you really be so superior to your husband because you've been given promotions at work? Now your husband is no longer an important person. Can you be so smart that your children really are not of your class? Your mother and your father and your sisters and your brothers? Why do we allow these trappings get into our heads? One of the things I thank the Lord for is because even though by the grace of God I did enter some reasonable offices that were respected, and I found myself in circles sometimes which had people who are respected, including presidents sometimes. I never allowed it to get into my head. You're just a sinner saved by grace. If you are going to heaven, pole pole. Now those people who you think are below you, you know, it's a matter of time. God will lift some of them in such unique ways. 5 years, 10 years from now, you know, you will look at them and be ashamed that you carried yourself as though you have dropped from heaven on a parachute. You are not born, some of you, not even in hospital, but at home. And you have, you know, God is the one who lifts people. And He's the one who brings them down. Na wahona ukinya kahora tondu thenene vile maginya mara atumia toti athomu tao okre university ri ka graduate ri wakithia kuhikia mwiretu wa form 2 nikire kota menya hindi iyo na moke university nangi uramwinira ati ti muthomu ni undu wake ni hindi uramenyire wandoka kimurita arehe CV yake okionera twathomete in life handu haguthia kumenya hindi iria mugiturite ate we bure muno na nduri indo ta rume aria angi angania maragura migunda na magaka na magaikara na we no guikara hafu riu ri waregete guthii gwetha andu acio mahana uguo na makire kuo tene niki utige baca rino itari na kindu iteithagia oro kahora kwenyihia ni kwenda gutia andu kumambararia kwambararia muthuri waku kwambararia mutumia waku kwambararia ciana ciaku kwambararia aciari aku kwambararia andu anyu na aria maguthiururukiirie na marete thogora munene ni undu waku nigetha ukinya haria uri ukamatwara iguru makiria ma uria maroneka na kwa kuhuthira your advantage nigetha ati utio nao manyararu. My late mother, you know, you've heard me talk about her. She didn't know how to read and write. I keep wondering how she produced a person like me. Every time I got into an office and I was being inducted, she came. Show up now kana murato mwe wake kana na rĩu rĩ nĩngwenda kũ-introduce maitũ na tondu kĩoĩ gĩthũngũ maitũ rũgama. I would like you to know ona mũtumia ũrĩa wanderire nake hĩndĩ ĩyo onahota kũnyitia gatambaya gake tondu kũu nĩ kũndũ kwĩna gĩtĩo no nĩ ndonania nĩwe na tiga nĩwe ndikĩrĩ haha. Nĩkĩ wĩnakĩo ndeithia aka-isolate gukiranĩrĩria endurance is one of those other features. Gentleness and patience. Gukirĩrĩria nĩkĩ? Nĩ kwĩgirĩrĩria kũrakara na kũnogio na gũikia moko ũkĩhĩtũkĩra mahinda maritũ kana ũkĩndirũ na andũ aritũ na andũ oru. It is basically refusing to get angry, refusing to give up, refusing to get tired of dealing with difficult people, not losing heart and hope in people. In the family, the reason why we need patience is that there is sin in the family. Some of the people in our families are not really very good people. A number of them are quite proud. Sometimes quite many are foolish actually. They are occasionally lazy. Sometimes they are wasteful. There are many things they do that we don't like. How can you be patient with them and maintain an attitude towards them that disapproves what they are doing now, but carries hope and confidence that as God works with them through their situations, they will be a lot better in years to come. Now, you know, some of the homes that we come from, there were very promising children, weren't there? They were passing their exams rather easily. They looked like the future was bright for them. And some of the children were not so smart. They tended to repeat exams and classes and generally get grades that the parents want to say they have forgotten. But in years following, some of those homes are being sustained by the D and C students, not the A and B students. The reason why you are patient with people is God is still working on them. And you haven't seen their end. It is coming. So now, I wrap up with discussion of forbearance. Forbearance. Gũkũ nĩ gũthura kwaga kwĩrĩhĩria hĩndĩ ĩrĩa ũhĩtĩirio ona wĩna kĩhoto ukioneka. Mĩciĩ mĩingĩ nĩ yanjĩka na njĩka itirĩ kĩ marũrũ. Ĩtũraga njera ya kwĩrĩhĩria. Waimbĩrio mĩromo nĩ mũtumia na wacinũrwo nĩwe, nawe ũkanyua na ũkarega kũinũka tene nĩgetha nake aigue ũguo. Wamenya atĩ mũthuri guo ena gacungwa, ũkarakara mũno na ũgetha wetagwo Ben 10 na ũkenda amenye onake aigue ũguo. Wanyirwo nĩ aciari aku ũgĩkũra, ona watonga ũkareka marĩo nĩ thĩna maigue ũguo ũrĩa we waiguaga rĩrĩa wakũraga ũhinyĩrĩirio, nĩgetha ũkamaconora mamenye nĩ wakinyire. Ũkiranĩrĩria nĩ kũrega kũhũthĩra kĩhoto gĩaku gĩa kwĩrĩhĩria. Ũkohanĩra ũkarekia kĩhoto gĩaku gĩa kũrĩhwo, ũgetĩkĩra gũthiĩ hathara nĩgetha ũgocithie Ngai. Nĩgetha mũtige kuona ta njikarire. Paulo thĩinĩ wa Korintho wa mbere 13 verses 4 to 8a akoiga maũndũ maya: Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. I want to suggest as I wrap up that love is not about the things that we say. Love is not about the feelings that we feel. Love is not about the optics that we can create around us. Love is about these positive things that can characterize your life in the family, which can lift your family to the next level. It has been found generally by many researchers that the human potential and capacity of most people is diminished and undermined and sabotaged by the pain they felt in the families as they grew up. In fact, the capacity for many people to dream and aspire in life to succeed is undermined by the repeated statements of their mothers and their fathers who raised them without building their confidence but undermining them. Kũgũega no hoti na umithio na maciaro na gũkinyanĩra kwa mũthuri waku, kwa mũtumia waku, kwa ciana ciaku, kwa grandchildren ciaku, kũrĩa gũkua kahinda karaihu mũno nĩgetha gũkinyanĩre. Nĩ hinya andũ maharaganie mĩciĩ itũ tũngĩkorwo na qualities na properties icio tũragweta. And so your children are asking, do you protect me? Your wife is asking, does your love for me protect me? And the wives generally across the world want to be protected from your mother and from your sisters when you are a man, because they are the ones who generally terrorize them very badly. Your wife wonders, when I am under attack, can I count on my husband to protect me? Your children are wondering, can we rely on mommy to protect us? Your parents are wondering, can we rely on our son and our daughter to protect us? That love that is protective is a major building block in our families. That love always trusts. I've known cases of women who keep to the straight and narrow and who know they are not trusted by their husbands sexually. Mutumwa mmoja erire neigua magerio ma kwĩithia indo. Tondu rĩrĩ atũraga etagwo nĩ mũthuriwe maraya na njangiri. Ona ciana ikeiguaga na hikire air virgin ndoĩ mũthuri ũngĩ. Mũthuri wake rĩ nĩkũ amuonire na nĩatĩa onire ũyũ tũmaga o arĩo ciugo iria iroima kanua nĩ icio. Angĩneana indo rĩ akĩragwo ũndũ ekĩte rĩ kũngĩikara atĩa? Ngĩmwĩra ũrundũragwo na kĩ? Na ũru. Always hopes. Always hopes. My daughter, who is a doctor, she used to get very bad grades in Form 1 and 2. Very bad grades. So I would call her and say, Mommy, these grades that you are getting, have you known about something called clusters? That there is a way subjects are clustered so that you cannot get admission if you don't make a cluster. She says, yes, I know, and I'm going to be a doctor. I say, Mommy, I believe you. You will become a doctor. Then she became a doctor. She tells me that one day she was walking in town and she met one of the schoolmates who knew about the kind of grades she used to get early in high school and said, Hiya, Mumoni, honor, wewe medical school. You know, ciana citũ na athuri aitũ na atumia aitũ no mathiĩ kũndũ kũraihu mũno ũhotani-inĩ wao mangĩmenya nĩ tũmetĩkĩtie na twĩ confidence no matorie na mahotane na evidence ya maũndũ marĩa maroneka ona matarĩ mega na matakinyanĩire matiratũraga ngoro tũgatiga gwĩtĩkia atĩ mena future nene. Always perseveres. Now love never fails. In the name of God the Father and God the Son and God the Holy Spirit.